Today, I'd like to talk about emotional regulation and ADHD. I was mistaken in thinking that folks with ADHD feel things differently to others. It's not necessarily true, but it can be in some cases, especially with things that you've learned to feel differently over time. What the problem is actually known as emotional regulation, or more accurately, emotional self-regulation. Basically, folks with ADHD are not as good at measuring their responses to their emotional stimuli. Where most people might find something frustrating or angry but realize that an angry response isn't necessarily warranted, folks with ADHD don't have that little bit that tells them not to act that way and could act poorly in those situations. Imagine your emotional response to be that like the nerves of your teeth. Some stimuli can find a raw nerve occasionally and cause you to react in a big way, and others hit teeth that don't react that way. Well, someone with ADHD tends to have all their teeth as raw nerves, so they will yelp when that stimuli hits, especially when that something is that frustrates, annoys, excites, or causes some form of irritation. Emotion can completely sweep away someone with ADHD. It can consume their whole mind and crowd out any information that might otherwise modulate their behavior. That would explain why reasoning can sometimes fail and folks with ADHD have impulse control issues. This also means that what motivates folks with ADHD can be different as well. Most neurotypical people deal well with the promise of a future reward, but brain scans have shown that folks with ADHD don't deal well with that at all and instead need some form of instant gratification. People with ADHD can often be seen as oversensitive, stressy, or even violent in some cases. The ADHD brain struggles to differentiate between minor problems and dangerous threats, often causing an overreaction. Those that are aware of their tendency to overreact in comparison with others often have done some work to improve this. However, it can cause them to underreact to stimuli too. If I think back to my childhood, I can remember my family members teasing me for being a moaner and going on about things that they saw as tiny problems. At times when I was being teased by bigger kids, I'd go blank, and the next thing I'd know, I'd been pulled off of them and I'd been asked, "What are you doing?" And I go, I don't know. I can remember arguments with teachers and parents and bosses, walking out of jobs, trashing rooms, and all of this can be tracked back to this unbalanced emotional response. Whilst I'm generally quite laid back and chilled out about everything as an adult, when something does bother me, I can be quite quick to anger. I didn't even realise this about myself and that I was different from anyone else, but I can see how, at times when I've been stuck on some code or I'm trying to deal with something in my home life that's frustrating me and perhaps my anger is unbalanced, and when someone's going, "Oh my god, you're being so angry about this, don't get so angry," I can sort of get where they're coming from now, having this realisation. I mean, even something as simple as taking 2 pans off of the pan I'm trying to use for the cooking tonight causes me an intense feeling of frustration, but I've learned not to react to that. Of course, the problem with this issue with your emotional regulation is that friends may forgive your mistakes and they can look past many of your idiosyncrasies. They will rarely forgive your anger, especially if that anger is directed at them or scares them. People with ADHD tend to lose a lot of friends over the years. They can often be marked as a black sheep or a troublemaker at school. They're often told that they're not trying by teachers, and even if they really, really are trying, because they can't regulate their emotions and their interactions with others as well, and they're more impulsive and they fidget and they talk, all of these negative comments can lead to self-esteem issues and depression. This can also turn into what is known as rejection sensitivity, which is the next topic I'd like to cover.